My name is Florence Lucas, the journey of my life. I was born in the year 1982 in a place called Isili, raised by a woman who was just an ordinary woman. And I come from the family of 9. I'm the fourth born of my father's house. And the journey began at that time when I was born. My coming to this world was not an easy task because my mother had waited for this girl you're seeing today. And she tried all the things she could do, but by the grace of God, I was conceived. And when I came to the world, things were not easy for me because my mother was just an ordinary woman who used to wash clothes for people. And when I grew up, I came to see my mother as a caretaker because that is what I used to see her do, because she would clean the plot so that she may be able to get something for us. My father is still alive and my father was there. But what I saw in that where I came from was my father was trying to do his part, but my mother was always there. My father would go out with his friends, make money, drink with his friends. Sometimes he will come back home late. He doesn't care about the children he has left. But my mother, she was always there for us. My mother would always fight to see us get a meal. So I grew up in that kind of a family. And the time came that I became a teenager. And I was not comfortable with that kind of life. So I said, because we are coming from a Catholic family, we were Catholics, I wanted change. I wanted something that could help us to better our life. So I trained myself to do hair. So I started as an hairdresser. A very young girl. People are going, my other friends are in school, but I'm busy doing hair so that I can be able to support my mother. So I met some of my friends and introduced me to a church called Deliverance Church Isili under Bishop William Tumising. So I became one of the teens in that church. They started mentoring me, teaching me how to grow as a young girl who doesn't have all the good things that I would love to have. And the amazing part of this journey was I used to admire rich children. So in that kind of society, in that kind of church, there were children who were rich, there were children who were poor, but my attention was always concerned to the rich because I could see the poverty that was in our family and I wanted to get out of it. So I started making friends with rich children so that I can be able to disconnect from the lineage of our family. But it was not easy because there was a lot of rejection, because you see there's this status quo where rich don't want to mingle with the poor. But I fixed myself in. I tried to fix myself in so that I can be able to fit in. Yeah, so my journey continued. When I was about 18 years, I told my mom, now you know I need to go and work. And my mother said, it's okay. And when we were trying to persist to see how I can be able to leave the country, because I wanted to go to Germany, and I had my friends who were going to Germany. So I was trying very hard if I can be able to go to Germany. And I shared with my mother. My mother said it's okay, but she didn't have the money. So we tried everything that we could do, and in the process my mother fell sick. And my mother was sick for some time. We didn't know what was happening to her. She was taken to the hospital, in Kenyatta Hospital, and in few months my mother was diagnosed with cancer. And we were like, this is a blow to us, because yes, we have a father, but this is the woman we could see. This is the person we could hear waking up at night praying for us. This is the person we could depend on. And me being the first daughter, it was a hit to me, because the rest of my siblings were young. You can now imagine, we are 9. I'm the 4th born. So the rest of my siblings were young, and I was traumatized, because I was thinking, if my mother passed on today, I will be forced to be the mother of those children. So I tried my best, because I was already introduced to God. So I tried my best so that I can be able to help my mother to become healed. I prayed to God, went to prayer mountains. When I hear there's a man of God who has come to Kenya, I would run there. Some would give me handkerchiefs. I'll go to the hospital, lay them on my mother. But unfortunately, my mother passed on. She went to glory, and it was the hardest thing of my life, because at that time I was this girl that I was being taught in church that God hears our prayer, God loves us. So I couldn't understand how God could allow my mother to die, and he loves us. So this thing made me to say, no, there is no God. So I stopped going to church. We buried my mother. After the burial, I stopped going to church, and I said, you know what? There's no God. I can't go to church again. And now that was the beginning of the journey. Being poor, coming from a poor family, which is, we can call it, coming from the lowest family, was, many people think that poverty is only lack of food, and you don't lack of clothing and the good things we need. But for me, poverty was more different, which is what I want to define. When you cannot invest on education for your children, for me that was poverty, because I could feel like my mother was not that kind of people who was so interested with education, and it was my desire even to go to school, go to university, and I could emphasize it to her, tell her, mom, I want to be educated. And at that time, those were the times where all parents, that generation, never valued education, especially for a woman. So one thing I noticed, my mother used to be attracted with my brothers going to school. He would make sure that they go to school, they are in secondary school. But for me, she never invested it to me. And one thing, when I would tell her that I want to, become this and this, she would tell me, no, wewe utaolewa, So don't tell me more about education, because when you're msichana, you will get married. So you should focus on how you should get married. And at that young age, I could think like, why is she not seeing the bigger picture that I'm seeing? And I'm still a young girl. So I was not comfortable with that kind of life. You get home, we eat. Yes, we could eat definitely 3 meals in a day, but I was not satisfied, because this is not what we wanted. This is not the kind of life we wanted. We were 9. We are 9. My siblings are 9. We are living in one room. We are in one room. So you can imagine how we were sleeping. You can imagine how food when my mom has cooked food for 9 people. You can imagine how life was. So for me, I was so uncomfortable. When I went to church, I was looking for help. I was seeking for help, that if I can get somebody who can be able to sponsor me with education. But unfortunately, I did not get it in the church, because that is the only place I thought I will be rescued. That is the only place I thought, when I go to the church, maybe share with the pastor that I need to pursue my education, they will help me. They were telling me, God will help you. I don't have a mentor. I don't have a guidance. My mother was not a spiritual person that is always in church that could guide me. So I was forced to find life for myself. It was not an easy task. So now, coming to the death of my mother, it started when my mother was married, and she was an innocent woman, a village girl. My father had a previous marriage with 2 children. The woman left the children and disappeared, went to Uganda, left my father with the children. So my father now, because he was an engineer, he was working with DT Dobby company, it was not easy for him to raise the children. So my father now went to his sister to take the children, and the sister advised him and told him, you know, you need to marry. That woman left. It has been almost 2 years. She's not coming back. So now my father agreed, and that is when they brought my mother. So my mother was brought in a marriage that she has no idea of, no background check. So my mother got married to my father. They lived together. They came to Nairobi. And now, after many years, when the children have grown, the woman resurfaced. The first wife resurfaced. And when she came, she started poisoning her kids. We grew up knowing those children are our brothers, because my mother never discriminated them, to an extent where she would rather give them food and us we miss. I can count many times I've come from school, from primary school. The food is little, and my mother would tell me, no, let your brother take. To an extent, I started feeling like my mother has favorism. She's favoring those kids more than us. But we didn't know they were our step brothers. Until later on, when this woman resurfaced, and she told the kids, this woman is not your mother, she is your stepmother, huyu ni mama wa kambo. And the hatred and the bitterness started growing in the life of those children. So we were like, Mom, you love these children more than us. Why would the mother come and do that? You even never told us that they are not our blood children, brothers and sisters. I mean brothers. So my mother told us, no, I come from a humble background. I know what it means. So I wanted these children to grow together with you people, for you not to know this. So unfortunately, when my stepmother came, war began. It was Third World War in our family. My stepmother wanted my mother to leave her marriage, and my mother was trying to, give her the facts. You left for years. You left me with these kids. They were only 2 years. I've raised them now. They are 20. Why would you come and want to destroy the marriage that I have built? And because this woman saw my mother was persistent, she went to seek for help in a witch doctor. And when she went there, she came with something, sent a relative. She sent a relative to our house. She came for sleepover. And because my mother knew she's our relative, she welcomed her. So the woman told my mother, I cannot go with the same clothes I'm wearing. And my mother said, yeah. So she went to her suitcase, removed a dress and gave this woman. From that time, I never saw that woman again. After some time, my mother her belly started swelling. And I thought she was pregnant, because I said, my mother has grace for children. So maybe she's pregnant again. But the way she was thinning. She could not eat. So we decided, no, Dad said we need to take her to the hospital. And that's when we went to Kenyatta Hospital. And after some time, they were doing they were checking on her test. They did different kind of tests, but they never told us specifically what was happening, because they said they are still doing some different kind of test. But it didn't take a week, because when they were still continuing to do their tests, my mother passed on. When my mother passed on, the woman that came to our house, dressed my mother's dress, came back. She came back with a paper bag with the dress that my mother had given her. And unfortunately, she did not give me. I found it under the chair when I was cleaning the house, because we are now preparing for the funeral and people were coming for matanga. So when I saw that paper bag, I opened it and I saw my mother's dress, and I shouted in the house. I said, my God, this is the dress my mother gave my aunt. Why would she bring it now and put it on a paper bag and hide it when my mother is dead? So for me, she was my first suspect. And I said, now this is the person that could be behind the death of my mother. So bitterness grew in me. I was a bitter woman. Actually, I was a girl. I was a bitter girl. And I was trying to look for a place where somebody can understand me. I have children that have been left for me. I have this assignment of my life that I don't even know what it is. I don't have a family that is there. My father is a drunkard. I was lost. I was bitter. I was confused. So I started looking for a way to get ends meal. That's when I started training myself to do hair. I would do these small girls, Isili is full of Somalis. So I would call those small girls, do their hair, they give me 50 bob, 100. So when they started seeing that I am doing it well, the people in the plot now started calling me to do their hairs. I started doing the hairs, but I was still in the church, Deliverance Church. I am doing hair, but when I go to the church, I would like to fit in with the people in the church. I don't want people to know that I am not in school, I am doing hair. So to an extent, in our church, they used to have camps, hikes, where teenagers would go for hikes and camps. I would go to my neighbor, borrow clothes. I would borrow. I know that lady called Lydia. She was my very close friend. I would go to Lydia, borrow clothes, borrow shoes, so that I can fit in the church. People would not know which family I'm coming from. So people would see me with the expensive clothes and think I am from a rich family. When I come back from the hike, I would go wash the clothes, take them back to the owner. It was not a good life. But for me at that particular time, I felt I was okay. People in the church knew me and they started calling me tourist, because they would see the way I'm changing clothes, the way I'm changing. I would wear nice. If we are doing army clothes, we are going for a hike and people are doing army clothes, I will have them. So they started naming me tourist. People from Deliverance Church, if they hear this story, they will remember. And that name tourist started. So I went back home. We have buried my mother. We are now trying to pick our pieces. Little did I know, 1 week after the burial of my mother, just from the village, the house was so cold. My father was cold. Everybody was cold. We didn't know how to pick up again after losing the woman that was standing there for us. And now we were faced with a heavy challenge. We moved to a ghetto in a street called 5th Street. We went to a ghetto. My father took us to the ghetto. That ghetto mvua ikinyesha maji ina flood. Tumelalia mattress. Taking you back to the place of my mother, because it's not easy to forget her, and it's not easy to forget the journey that she took us through in her illness. The illness was the most difficult part of our lives, because you can imagine seeing your mother, her stomach is swelling. You don't know what is happening. When they take her to the hospital, the doctors are not sure what is happening to her. They've tried to do different kind of tests. Nothing is coming out. It was traumatizing, because I was hoping and praying that that sickness would go. I was believing in God, knowing that she will be healed. That is why I could come to the hospital, lay handkerchief on her, because men of God were telling me, bring a handkerchief, let me pray for it, go and lay it on your mother, she will be healed. I did that. I took sacrifices to the church. I fasted, looking for a way to see my mother recovering from that sickness. That sickness brought pain. That sickness of my mother brought confusion in our family, because our family now parted ways. We were not in agreement anymore, because nobody was understanding what was happening to us. So the journey of that illness of my mother, the way people had disconnected from her, the rejection that she got even from her friends, it was the hardest thing of my life. Me being the fourth born, looking at it that if my mother happens to die, I will take the step. I have to fit in, which is not easy to fit into the shoe of your mother. But I was forced to do that. So I tried to pray. I tried to seek for help. But unfortunately, my mother passed. She died and went to be with the Lord. That was the beginning of my life. The journey started from 5th Street. Kwa wale wanajua 5th Street isili vizuri, kulikuwa na K-City, kuna church inaitwa K-City, then kulikuwa na kageto hapo chini. So hiyo ghetto ndo mali father alitupeleka. So you can imagine, tumefika kwa hiyo place from where tulikuwa tunakaa. For us ilikuwa it was a blow, it was a hit on our face, because tunaanza kukopaje from there. And my father was like, unajua nini sasa, hapa tu ndio mtakaa. Sasa mama hayuko, hakuna mtu wa kuwasaidia. No auntie came for us. We started from there. Mimi sasa nikaanza kutafuta njia venye nitajisaidia, nisaidie my younger sisters. Father akawa anatoka naenda kutafuta job. Mimi nikaanza kupika mihogo. Those people who know mihogo, I started frying mihogo ndio niweze kupata pesa. So you fry mihogo, at the end of the day umepata 200. Hiyo 200 ndio umeleta home sapa, umekula na watoi, masista zako na mabro. Then Saturday weekend nashuka watoi wa Somali. Machawa wako na machawa lakini unaziua tu, but you are busy, you know, making their hair because you need to survive. Hauna choice. I'm looking at my elder brothers. I'm like, mbona wasifikirie what I'm thinking? You know, why are they not working hard the way me I'm trying to do this? They didn't even understand, and it's like it was hawakukuwa wanashika what is happening. So me niko confused. You see how I'm still in confusion. I'm still in shock. I'm still depressed. But I still have to work. Then after some time tumekaa, nyumba za ghetto zikaingia kukaa nini, mtu aliwasha nini, mshumaa, nyumba ilishika moto. Guess what? Nyumba ilishika moto mpaka yetu. Tunakuja tunapata the blankets, ile mattress tumebaki nazo mbili zilichomeka. Hiyo ghetto ilichomeka. Documents zote zenye my dad had that were important, they got burned. My birth certificate, they all got burned in that ghetto. My God, we didn't know what to do. My father came back. My father was confused. My brothers were confused. Sasa tukasema, now what do we do? Si tukaambia our dad, hii place si nzuri, tuhame, because watu walikuwa naibiwa, you know, so unajua life ya ghetto. We are girls, we don't know those people. So nikaambia my father, we have to move. My father akasema, sasa tutahamia wapi? Tukaambia sasa, because you are the father, wewe ndio utatudirect. That is when my father, I don't know how he knew a place called Ziwani. Akatupeleka Ziwa. From ghetto 1 to ghetto 2. Tumefika Ziwa. I'm like, wa, sasa huku ndio wapi? Father akasema, hata huku ni better than mali mulikuwa, so you better adjust. So I'm trying to adjust. Sasa Ziwani ile place ingine yenye unaingia, the first day umeingia watu washakujua. Washauliza, tunasikia kuna msichana amehamia huku, juu tulienda kwa nyumba ya mabati. But when you look at me, sikai hiyo nyumba tunaishi. Tuko kwa hiyo nyumba sasa. My sisters zangu kwa hapo, brothers zangu they are there. Watu Ziwa. One thing I know about Ziwani, and this is something that I really respect the people of Ziwani, but kuna udaku mob. So watu walianza kunichunguza, dem ni wapi? Dem anakampank, hivyo ndio walikuwa nasema. Dem anakampank, lakini mbona amekuja kuishi kwa nyumba ya mabati? Man, it was hard. So nikasema sasa kitu nitafanya hapa, wacha ni make friends. Father anatoka, mimi ndo nabaki home. Nikaanza kuonesha, you know what, mimi ushuka nywele. Ile tu kushuka nywele yangu sikuwa iacha. Mimi ushuka nywele. So mademu wa mtaani wakaanza kunijua, wanakam na washuka nywele. Wakaanza kunipatia info of the area. Unajua Ziwani hapa lazima kuwe mjanja. So I'm like, hii ni ujanja gani? So you should understand, nimetoka kwa life ya church. Because nikiwa Isili nilikuwa naenda church. But nimekuja different location, different area where people rarely go to church. They look at you kwanza wanashindwa, unatuambia nini stories za church? Waseni out. So mimi niko na ile uoga bado. I'm like, I don't want to tell them that I'm so much in the church because I will not fit in again. I was trying to fit in deliverance with the rich kids. So tumehama huko. So tumekuja Ziwa. Now I have to fit in nikae kama demu wa mtaa. So tumeketi, tumeendelea na life huko. We are just doing, you know, I'm doing my things. Father, amesha adjust. Yeah, me adjust. My other brothers left. Wakaniacha sasa mimi ndo tukae kwa hiyo nyumba because that house was small. So now I started going out, clubbing. Nikatafuta madem, mabesties zenye najua ni wasi wa club. Tukaanza kwenda club sasa. So naenda out. Kwanza kuna club moja I used to love. Ilikuwa South B. Rims. I will never forget Rims. So kulikuwa kulikuwa na band moja inaitwa Rumba Japan. That was my life. So every Friday nikajua sasa base ni rims, naenda kwa Rumba Japan. So unaenda huko unatoa stress, unakuja home umelewa. Nimesahau church sasa because now life imenipeleka vingine. And I'm bitter with God. Don't forget, I'm bitter with God because why will God allow my mother to die? So now nikasema wacha nirudi kwa dunia. Mabeste wakaanza kunipeleka. You know, Flo, tutakuintroduce kwa mabuda. Mabuda watakuweka poa, utatoka ghetto. Nikamwambia mimi niko ready ni introducing. So tunaenda hizo club, Rumba Japan, watu wanakuja huko ni old men, you know, people that can take care of you. Then like, you are a young girl, we want to help you, I want to marry you as a second wife. Those options came like 4 times. We want to marry you as a second wife. But something that was in me, I had like a small fear of God. Hata kama bado nakunywa, but kuna kale kafia nasema, nimeona vile madhangu ameteseka kama second wife. Nijingize kwa mdosi tena ninge second wife, nikule shida yenye madhe amekula. So ako kakitu kwa naniogopesha juu hata nilikuwa nasema hata mtu akwe mdosi aje, I can't marry somebody's husband. So besti zangu wananiambia wewe Flo, hata kama utamuoa akishakuweka kwa maisha poa, afadhali ulilie runda kuliko kulilianga ziwa. Akishakuweka kwa maisha poa utatoka. Sasa na mimi niko confused, nasema usisahau bado niko na pressure ya kutry kurecover myself. Hapo ndio sasa nikapata connection ya job Kenyari. Kuingia Kenyari sasa nikapata madema hasla. Kushare story yangu, wakaniambia wow, sasa Flo, sisi tutatembea na wewe. Nikaanza kushuka, niliingia kama shampoo girl kwanza. I was doing shampoo. So na mimi na learn, nataka kujua weaves zinashonwaje because niko naona venye wase wa weaves wanapata do. So nina learn, I'm trying to see how they are doing it. Nikaanza kujua kushona weave. So huku na shona weave venye niko Kenyari sasa, company yenye niliget Kenyari sasa ndio out, ndio best. Sasa si nikafitin vizuri. So Friday tuko out, weekend tuko out. Church niliachana nayo, ikaendelea, it became my lifestyle for years. Along the way I met a guy in Ziwani. So nchali tu Ziwa, alikuwa tu hapo mtaani, kumbe ananionanga tu. So the guy came, akani approach, ni aje nini, umetoka wapi, unakam punk? Naambia mimi ni demo ghetto. Okay, so mimi nimekulike. Umenilike. Sasa wewe ni waziwa, mimi ni waziwa. Hizo stories zingine baadaye. So nikiangalia shida pia iko kwetu, nataka kutoroka kwetu. Nikienda kwa mabeste zangu na maisha zao naona hapana. So mimi tuka connect na huyu Charlie. When we connected, the guy akanipeleka kwa SQ yake pia yeye. So kufika hapo nikaona hiyo nyumba, nikaambia jo, hapa pia kuna difference na kwetu. But ananiambia unajua nini Flo, tutajibuild. Wewe sasa masista zako wanakuangalia, wewe toka at least anza maisha yako. So along the way I got pregnant. When I got pregnant, sasa nikasema hapa sasa sijui nitafanyaje. Nikajaribu kuficha nini, ikafika time ikaonekana. Kaambia niaje, itabidi father ajue. Sawa, wewe enda umwambie. So I went, shared with my father. My father was like, ile shida tumekula Florence. Sasa beba vitu zako, enda kwa huyo mwanaume. Nikajaribu kuplead na father, called people, father kakata. So I had to carry my things, go live with the man. My greatest fear was huyu mtu pia anifukuze. But when I went there, nikamwelezea venye father amesema, he agreed to take me. Nakasema sasa tuanze life. So days zikaendelea, bado niko job, bado naenda out, tukaanza kusumbuana. I am pregnant, you can imagine. But now this man was a bit patient with me. I think pia alikuwa anaona niko frustrated, so Mungu akanisaidia, I delivered to a baby boy. So that is when now nikamwambia, now pia wewe involve your mom. He called the mother akasema nakuja. He came, mother akatuambia sasa nimewabariki, anzeni maisha. So for me that was a bit a relief, because sasa kuna ile kale kajina naona nimeolewa. Na feel sasa at least kuna kama milestone kadogo, hata kama sijaolewa na mdosi venye mabesto walikuwa wananiambia, but at least I have a man. So ni Kenyari nishawaambia, you know, I got someone nini, nimezaa, wakakuja wakaniona, celebrate. So tukaanza life na Tom, my husband. Tujafanya vitu venye inafaa, lakini tumekubaliana. Na hata akaniambia, when we get money we will officiate it. So I was okay with that. My dad tukaminvolve, akatukubalia. 1 year down the line, I got pregnant again. Atuna do. Tom was not working. Mini hustler, saloon, you know. Mtoi wa pili. Tuko kwa extension, pressure, because we are living with extended family. So pressure, you cannot even afford Pampers. Hizo ndo siku za manapi. So it was tough. It was hard. Nikajiambia God, nimetoka kwa shida Isili, nikaenda tena ghetto Isili, tena nimerudi ghetto ingine Ziwa, plus na watoto sasa, na masista zangu are there. Nikasema nye maisha imenikataa. But I was trying to comfort myself, because something in me was telling me, apana, it's not the end of it. So tuka agree with my husband, tukasema we continue like that. Tukaendelea na maisha yetu pole pole, tuna hustle tu ile tu kiasi. Nimepika food, I would separate the food, carry yenye tunakula home, carry small portion to my sisters. That was the kind of life we were living. Toma kibai nyama, hakuna vile I'll eat meat and my sisters are not eating. So every time you will see me carrying food to my family, I'm sure many people were like, Udem, what is happening? So my younger sister, nikamwambia pana, you come, and my younger brother, because my younger brother, when my mother died, he was left akiwa 3 years. So I had to carry him juu ndio mtoto. So unaona nimekuja kwa marriage na baggage. So nishaleta watu wangu wamekuja, my sister is there, my younger brother is there. Tuko kwa extension. Now the family now ikawa ni challenges, because ni aje sasa huyu Toma anaweza leta mdem, she has all this, akona hii familia yao yote kwao, amewaleta kwake. Tom was like, ni sawa, let me raise them, this is my family, let me raise them, tutasaidiana tu. We tried 3 years. On our 3rd year, Tom became sick. Kichwa, flow kichwa. He had a friend called Martin. Martin, may his soul rest in peace. So Mato akakama, alikuwa tumemtenga Pastor Mato. Kaambia Mato, Thomas kipoa. Kaniambia, alikuwa vibrant. Jeff Florence jali, tutamuombea Tom ata recover, what. So we had faith that Tom will recover. And then they said, we have prayed, let us take him to the hospital. They took him to the hospital. Akakaa siku kama 2-3. On the 4th day, we went there to the hospital with Martin. So Martin akaniambia, we have to lead this guy to Christ. Martin led him to Christ. Hapo tu hospitali Kenyatta. So Martin left, akaniambia, umse amepona, Flo, we relax, umse amepona. Nikamwambia it's okay. Mimi nikatoka, I went back to work Kenyari. So nimefika Kenyari, nikasema niende nitengeneze client, then I rush home, cook lunch for him, nimpeleke hosi. Akanicall akasema Flo natamani fish. Nikasema sawa, nikakimbia, went and cooked fish, nika prepare, nikaeka kwa lunch box, kwa hot pot, nikakimbia Kenyatta. When I got to Kenyatta like this, nimeingia kwa lift hivi, ile bag nilikuwa nimebeba ikaanguka, chakula ikamwagika. I was like, what is happening? There was a bad feeling about it. Kitu kaniambia nirudi, au watu madoko walikuwa naingia kwa lift wananiambia usijali, cleaners will come and clean. But I sensed this was not a normal thing, because every time nilikuwa napeleka food, nothing like that ever happened. So when I got to the hospital, mali kitanda ya Tom ilikuwa hakuna bed. Nikaita madaktari, Tom ako, wakaniambia we need you to another room. What? I hope it's not what I'm thinking. Wakaniambia no madam, uko na nani? Niko peke yangu. Just follow us. That is when I went to that room. Tom was dead. It was a shock. It was a big blow. Where am I starting from again? I've just lost my mother. I thought I found somebody who will comfort me. The person that I would think that would be there for me is gone. I'm left with 2 children. One was 1.5. The other one was almost going to 1. Where am I picking? I'm staying with my relatives. I don't have a stable job. I don't have a family backup. I don't have a godfather that is rich or a rich uncle. Watoi wetu pia ndio hawa. It was hard. I mourned him. I mourned Tom. I mourned him. I tried to gather myself again. I tried to pick up from there. It was hard. So we went on with the preparations. We took him home. He was buried. Came back to Nairobi. Watu wananiangalia. Ni huyu mimi peke yangu. I went kwa hiyo nyumba tulikuwa tunakaa na Tom. Took the photos. Memories zote nikazieka. He had a lot of trophies because he was a footballer. He had a lot of trophies. But trophies zimejaa, so memory was all over. But I didn't have money to move out of that house. So I was forced to stay there. The relatives were like, it's okay, we will take care of you, we will help you. But you know, they can give you those promises. But once your husband is not there, it's not easy for them to keep that promise. So tukaendelea na maisha. Nikaanza kupitia tribulation, rejection, persecution. What will I do? Niko kwa salon. Watu wa salon, people were talking about me. People gossiped me. People talked ill things. You are still mourning your husband. Mdosi wangu akaniita. Akaniambia, Flo, nimesikia hazi yako amedai. Nikamwambia, yes, pole. This is my contribution. But venye ulienda matanga, ulikawia. Unfortunately, hautaweza kuendelea na job. So it was a double tragedy. Even the little job that I thought I had lost it. depression ikaanza kusink in. My second born son became ill. We were admitted again in Kenyatta Hospital. I started seeing the trace of the father following the boy. I started seeing huyu mtoto ni kama he will die. It's less than 3 months after the burial of the father. So I started seeing another death in my son. I've lost my job. I've lost friends. I've lost support. Mother akaniambia, msichana wangu, she used to call me, she always calls me Nyaugenya. She's still alive. Nyaugenya, why don't you come to the village? Because now what will you do with the children? So I'm looking at Mother, I'm like, Mother, as much as I would love to come there, but where will I get money in the village? She gave me that option to think and decide. So tuko hosi, mtoi ni mgonjwa, hatuna do. God started coming through because sasa nikaona sina mtu mwingine, wacha nirudi kwa God. So nikaanza kuomba when I'm in the hospital, praying that God will help me to talk. So God connected me with another pastor. When I shared with him, he was moved. Akaniambia, tutaomba na wewe mtoto atatoka hospital. We prayed, tulitoka hosi, went back home. So tuko home, tutasurvive aje? Watoi wetu ndio hawa, watoi wangu ndio hawa. Sina job. What do I do? I thought, I sat down, I planned. Kila kitu najaribu inakataa. Nikasema, hapa sasa, wacha nirudi club. Nitafute sasa wale wazee nilikuwa naambiwa. Sasa wacha nikatafute sasa. Because I need my children to survive. I went back to those kind of life. Do clubbing. Looking for somebody that can carry me with the children. I didn't find any. The ones that were coming, anakuambia wewe labda nikumarika second wife. Na bado nilikuwa na ile stigma of being a second wife. So that option was not a good option for me. But I was going out. So one of my friend called me, Flo, just come back to the salon. Nikamwambia sasa nimefutwa job. Akaniambia pana, kuna kitu inaitwa station. Come and take a station. Ongea tu na mother mmoja mwenye station, mwambie story yako. Then akupe station, utakuna lipa end month. I saw it was an idea. So I went to town, found a lady akona salon. Nikamwambia sasa station ni kioo, unapewa kioo moja but you pay for it. So when I told her, akakubali, nikarudi job. So I started hustling, but bado stories are God stacking, going out. Sasa nikamanage, God akanisaidia. I had to move from Ziwani to Umoja. I came to Umoja, started life with my children. Niko salon and out. Pabingine hapo Umo, Hornbill. Mimi msewa Hornbill. Jioni niko Hornbill kwenda kutoa stress. So my friends are telling me, Flo, lazima utoe stress, otherwise pia utakufa, watu hiyo wanakutegemea. Nikamwambia, you guys have a point. Acha nitoe stress. So tukawa hiyo ndo maisha. But the good thing is that I was working very hard. Watu wangu wasikose food. Watu wangu walikuwa na meal zote lazima wakule. I have to give them a good kind of life. No matter how kwa watu wengine inakaa si nzuri, but kwangu na make sure sita wacha watu wangu wakae na njaa. So now in that day, hizo masiku za kwenda out, niko out na tunakunywa kwa salon. God sent a woman. met with this woman in the salon. She was an evangelist. I think she's still an evangelist until now. So now she was selling earrings. Earrings, and I love earrings. I love jewelry. So I have a soft spot for earrings, and these are my necklace, you know. So now she comes to the salon to sell those earrings and jewelries. And every time she knew I was a customer. So every time atanita, Flo, come. Nimeleta earrings nzuri latest. I'll pick them. So Susan now had an attraction with me. And she started telling me about God. So ananiambia, Flo, you are a young girl. You have a great future ahead. Are you born again? Sasa hapo kwa born again ndio ilikuwa shida mimi na Susan. Na nikamwambia, now listen to me. If you start telling me about born again, tutakosana. I have a story, and it is not a good story. Please, sell for me earrings. Mambo ya born again sitaki. So akaniambia it's okay. So every day she used to come. Anakuja, anapata niko wapi? Niko either nimekaa ama niko na client, but akiniita anasikia harufu ya pombe. And told me, Flo, you drink. Nikamwambia, mind your business. Si umekuja kuuza earrings. Sell your earrings and leave me. So akingia, nilikuwa tunamuona hivi kwa anapanda stairs za salon. I will change my countenance. Why? Because I knew this woman is coming to tell me about God, and that is your business tulimaliza. Mi mambo ya God staki. I've lost my mother. I've lost my husband. I don't want anything to do with God. Let me just be. I'm in pain. I'm in pain. Let me heal. So she was very persistent. She kept on coming. So to an extent, hata sometimes ninaangalia watu wa saloon na kioo. You know the way we used to signal each other na kioo. I would look at one of them na wafanya. There you go, she's coming. So just smile. She's a very humble woman. She would just smile. And I'm be Flo, do you know you are a servant of God? Nambia, if you ever tell me this kind of things, hata sasa uhusiano yako staki. And she kept on persisting. She never got tired of me. So now she had to look for something that will win my heart. Sometimes she comes with the earrings. Nikienda kumlipa na niambia usinilipe Flo. Hiyo nimekubaia. So she started winning my heart. I started becoming free with her. I started trusting her. So one day, tumeenda out. I'm just from my work. Tumeenda out. Tuko Hornbill. Tunapiga sherehe. Then it was around 3 a.m. Nimekunywa. People used to know me. I used to drink. I was a good drinker. Mimi hata crate ningemaliza. Nimekunywa. Nikaanza kulia. So my friends wakasema, huyu Flo, I think ako depressed. Nikaanza kulia, literally tears, machozi natoka. Na mimi wanajua venye nilikuwa hype kwa bar. I would dance. Mimi hata you know, hata unapanda kwa meza. Yani nilikuwa nimefika mahali maisha imenichosha. I don't fear anybody. I don't care about anybody. After all nishasemwa. After all my name has been tampered with. So I don't have anything to lose. So I was like, let me live my life to the fullest. So mimi niko kwa bar. Nimekunywa, nimelewa. I'm just talking my things, planning my things. Then all of a sudden I started crying. I cried. So one lady came and asked me, Flo, mbona unalia? Nikamwambia, mi hapa mahali niko, si mahali pangu. So she was like, what? Nikaanza kumwambia, hapa, this is not my life. My life is in the church. This is not my life. Wakacheka. Wakasema huyu ni pombe. Hizi pombe leo zimelemea Flo zinamuonesha ni church. Nikamwambia hapana. God ananiambia hii si place yangu. Place yangu ni church. Ati God anakuweza kuongelesha kama umelewa. Wewe nani sasa God akuongeleshe? I'm like, you people cannot understand me. This is not my place. When nilimaliza kusema hivyo, I took my bag. Nimelewa. Nikasema nenda home. So, security wako hapo kasema hapana, ni usiku. Unachukua Uber hapana, unachukua taxi hapana. Then usitoke, it's late. Uwezi enda peke yako sahi. Enda ukakae ushuke, pombe shuke, urudi soba kidogo ndio unless kama unaenda na rafiki yako akupeleke kwa nyumba. Na my friends bado walikuwa na enjoy, so hawako wanataka kuenda. So huyo mtu akani advise, go sit down. And then ikifika around 5 toka. And I went, sat down, nikalala kwa meza tu hapo. Kufika 5 sasa si watu wanaenda, wananiambia Flo tunaenda. Nikamwambia tuendeni. Kufika nje ya gate naona basi ya church, Winners Chapel. Something told me, enter into that bus. Niko mlevi, nanuka pombe, ni macho bado na kausingizi. Niliingia kwa basi. Hiyo basi ilikuwa inaenda wapi? Church. The woman that sat next to me alikuwa ananiangalia, anaona niko mlevi, anashindwa udema anaenda wapi. So that woman didn't judge me. That woman akaniambia, how are you? I answered her, what's your name? Nikamwambia, where are you going? Nikamwambia, I'm going to church. Where are you from? I'm from the club. Akaniambia, God loves you. That one was a milestone for me. I broke down. I started crying. She embraced me. I was like, this woman is not even afraid nanuka pombe. She told me God loves you. We got to the church. She led me to Christ. From there, she akanipatia some books. Akaniambia, be reading these books. I will help you, walk with you. For the first time in my life, I felt love. Because one thing I didn't know the meaning of love. I never saw that love from my father. I never saw that love from my family. I got it kidogo in my husband, but it never lasted. He went, and now the emptiness came back. So I didn't know what love was. This woman told me, I will walk with you. But that was the first and the last time I saw that woman. I never saw that woman again, but that was another journey altogether, because I went back to my normal salon, place yangu ya job, and now I was the one looking for the one who was looking for me. I was running away from her. I now wanted to know more of what this woman was telling me. For me, that woman was an angel. So I looked for my friend. I started telling her to mentor me. She tried to teach me the few things that she could. And now I had to look for a church and join a church where I can grow. I joined the church, became an usher. I started at the door. Very committed, very faithful. I started loving God like never before. But one thing that amazed me is that the seed of God never dies. Because the seed of God that was in me when I was a teenager still came back to look for me. even with children. I joined the ministry. Very committed usher. I would clean the church, clean the toilets, make sure the church is well arranged. And God is very faithful, because I was looking for growth. I was looking for a way I can now grow my spiritual life, because nimetafuta life yangu kuinje kwote, sikuwa ipata. The happiness that I thought I would find in the club, nitatoka club kwa nyumba yangu usiku ninalia, asubuhi ninaamka nasema nimetumia ido yote, si hata fadhali watu hiyo wangekula food. So every time I would come out of the club, I will regret going. So still the happiness that I was looking for, I never found it. Ile venye nilikuwa naambiwa ati ukienda huko out utatoa stress, hata ndio ilikuwa inaniongezea stress more. Juu uko na hangover, huna do, una imagine usingizi ndio hiyo. So now I said no, I think let me try this other side. As much as nilikuwa nimejam na God, but let me try and see if this time it will work. As an usher that I was, Mungu sasa venye nilijicommit fully. I'm in the church, morning, lunch hour service, morning glory, I'm there, committed to it. So God akaanza kufungua njia. Business yangu ya salon nikaanza kuexpand. Nikatoka from station, nikachukua salon. That was something that people could not believe it. Wale wenye walikuwa wananiambia ati if I can get a sugar daddy to help me, nilikaa nikasema hata hiyo time nilikuwa sina hii job, but sahi sina sugar daddy, but niko na salon neza lipa. I came out of paying a station of 10,000 to a salon of 40,000 per month. I employed people. I became a boss of my own. I could not believe it. That's when I said, then I think hapa kwa Mungu ndio kuna baraka, wacha nikae. So now nikaongezea my attention and my service to God. When it comes to morning glory, by 5 I'm in the church. Lunch hour ikifika 12 kamili nimefunga. I close my shop, my salon, go to the church, serve diligently. I started bringing people to the church who are salon, inviting them to our church, telling them, come, there is God. And sometimes you don't even need to tell people. They see your life and they see God. So people started seeing changes in my life. Then now they started telling me, unaendanga wapi? Kwanza somebody asked me, ulienda kwa mganga mgani? Because people know that when you're in the salon business, hiyo ndo life. So somebody asked me, niambie please, ulienda wapi? Nikamwambia mimi imagine nilipata God. What? Unatudanganya Flo. Yes, come I show you. I became like the Samaritan woman, bringing people to church. I have met this Jesus. For the first time in my life, nalala usingizi bila kumeza dawa za kulala. I used to swallow medicine ndio nilale. For the first time ninalala usingizi nikasema, then this man Jesus might be the man I've been looking for. I started bringing people to church, inviting people to church. So now I started persisting on my growth, my spiritual walk. Came to the salon. We had a chama. That chama, people used to come to your house. Unapewa pesa na unanunulia watu mzinga. Na nilikuwa kwa hiyo chama. So siku yangu ya chama ikafika. They are bringing for you 30,000 in your house. And they buy the mzinga. So after kukula, you cook for them. After people wanakunywa. So si nikajua, now this chama is coming to my house. I went and I bought a sticker. Imeandikwa, this house belongs to the Lion of Judah. So when people came, Flo, hizi ni gani? I got born again. Acha hizo ujinga. You know, utarudi. Naambia pana, I got music. Put for us zile muziki tulikuwa tunaweka zile marumba zetu. I got born again. Nimeka kina Angela Chibalonza. So people got bored. Wakaniambia, now since wewe ulikuwa unakunywa kwa manyumba zetu, lazima ununue. I told them, here is the money for the drinks tulikuwa tunanunua. Please go look for a bar or a wine and spirit mukunywe huko. Hapa kwangu nimesema we are not drinking. I have accepted Jesus and I am not going back. I decided to make a serious decision, which is to leave that chama. It was the hardest. Ilikuwa chama inainua mama. But I said, because of my salvation, I want my growth with God. I have to leave it. They could not believe when I went to give them my resignation letter. I left the chama, concentrated on the church, continued with serving God. So the zeal of God ikaendelea kuwa kwangu. The zeal, I want to know more. Najipata nataka kusikia Mungu, nataka kusikiza wimbo za Mungu, messages za Mungu. The zeal ikawa stronger than me. Now, people think that when you accept Jesus, things becomes easy. But I didn't know now I was getting to another journey. So now I had that expectation because I'm born again. My life will be easy out of ile shida nimepitia. Kazi sasa tena ikaanza kupungua. Saloon, I cannot manage to pay it. I called somebody, we partnered. Pia yeye akaniacha. Saloon ikaanza kunilemea. I closed the salon. Closing the salon, I'm thinking, should I go back to the station? But it will be shame. Umetoka saloon, umetoka station, umechukua salon. People have praised you. Then you want now to go and shame the same God you were speaking about. So for me it was hard. I stayed in the wilderness for a period of time. But this time round, I never went back. When things got hard, I would run to God and pray. I would close myself in a room, fast, call on God. So that shows my spiritual life was growing. Then now, in that time when I was seeking God and praying, I told God, open for me one door that will change my life. And a friend of mine introduced me to a lady who was looking for a saloonist. I went there, she met me and asked me, are you ready to relocate? I was like, wow. She said, I'm opening a very big salon in Rwanda and I need a good hairdresser. I was told Kenyans are good and I was referred to you. I was like, you have found the right person. I went, shared with my church leaders, my pastor, told him I've gotten a job, I'm leaving the country. Organized my children, took them to their grandmother, and I traveled to Rwanda. I went to Rwanda. The job was a well-paying job. The first month we had an agreement. She was giving me this amount of money we had agreed and then accommodate me for 6 months. Then after 6 months, I will pick up and get a house for myself. That was the agreement. But it was not a written agreement because she told me once I get there, we will do the written one and document it. So I went excited. The first month I received my salary, sent my tithe. The second month I received the third month. On the fourth month, she changed the terms and told me the job is not picking well. She cannot be able to pay me all that amount. So I can either go back on commission or I look for another job or another salon. This was another challenge. You're in a foreign land. You don't know anybody. So I believed God. I looked for a church, continued going to church, continued praying. And I told that lady, okay, after the fourth month, I will make my decision. So on the fourth month, she came, Florence, what have you decided? I told her I've decided to leave the work because I cannot do commission. I don't have clients here. I am new in Rwanda, and you changed the agreement. This was not the agreement from the beginning when you were removing me from my country. And we parted ways in peace. But one thing I thank God, in that very salon, God brought for me a helper. I met a Kenyan lady. We exchanged contacts. So when I lost my job again, I called her, told her what happened. She told me, come to my house. I went to her, shared with her. She told me, what do you want now? Do you want to go back to Kenya? Or how can I help you? Can I help you to start a business here? I told her, give me 7 days. After 7 days, I will answer you. I went to my house, closed the door for 7 days. I never left my house. I was eating nothing. I fasted for 7 days, asking God, should I come back home? Should I continue staying there? From the first day to the 7th day, I was dreaming I'm in a school and I have a very big Bible in front of me, and I'm seeing white people teaching me the Bible. I did not understand the dream. I was like Joseph. Thank God I had a pastor. I went to my pastor, shared the dream with him. He told me, God wants you to go to Bible school. I told him it is true because God spoke to me when I was in Kenya, but I was too busy with my job. And he said, if you don't do it here, you will still do it in another country, or you will still do it back home. So on the 7th day, I finished my fasting, went to see that lady, and I told her, now God has told me to go to Bible school. She said, do you know of any? I said, no. She told me, go and look for any good Bible school. Come and tell me. I went and I looked for a Bible school, and I found African School of Theology in Kigali. That school had all kind of foreigners because it was a school where they even had hostels for the students who are not from Rwanda. I shared with her. She told me, which course do you want to do? I told her I want to do diploma. For how long? For 2 years. She told me, go and bring the brochure. I brought it, and she said, I will pay for you these 2 years. You will stay in the hostels of the school. I will be paying. I told her, I have children. I need to work. What will I do? She told me, I will be supporting your kids while you are here. I'll be sending money for them while you are here. Glory to God. After the woman now took me to college, paid my school for 2 years, and the miracle of her taking care of my kids, I came back to Kenya in 2016. Very excited, ready to serve God, ready to reach out to women that have gone through what I've gone through and even more. So I had the urge and the burden of having a ministry. The desire was so much in me. Every time when we were in school, when they will tell us to write an essay, I would write about the ministry, which is Beauty for Ashes. So I talked more about it even before it came into reality. So when I got back home and I was like, God, okay, I'm here now. Should I start it? How do I start it? I don't know how to pick again from here, because you see, now it's the journey. That is why I'm saying the journey of my life. So now I'm here back again in Kenya, 2016. And then God now told me, I want you to start it. Start looking for women, and I want you to help the women that have gone through what you have gone through. And I was afraid of where to start, and God told me, go back to the salon where you started. I said, how will those people believe me? They know my story. They know the kind of person I was. I used to go out with them. How will they even believe what you are telling me? And God told me, start in your Jerusalem. Go. I said, God, if this is you, make a way. And God made a way. I got a job in one of the salons. When I got the job as a manager, those same ladies that were there started coming. Oh, you came back. Then from there now, I started reaching out to them, praying with them. I led them to Christ, and they advised me. They told me, why don't we start a women's ministry? And I told them, this is what has been in me, but I didn't know how to go about it. And they said, now let us launch it. We planned it. We prayed about it. I involved some mentors that I had, and they told me, go ahead. We planned for it, and we did a launch. We launched it in the same year, 2016. We launched Beauty for Ashes Ministry, women's ministry. The ministry was so tremendous. It was amazing, because we started reaching out to women that are hurt, women that are broken, women that don't know where to go, women that need somebody to talk to. And also in the same Beauty for Ashes women, we have Beauty for Ashes Foundation, which is for orphans, for street kids, and something that I love doing. I have a passion for widows, because I have been a widow before. I have a soft spot for widows. So I said, in this women's foundation, I want to help widows. I want to help single mothers. I want to help neglected mothers. I want to help children that don't have parents, and the street kids. And we started it in a small way. I would go to town, gather street kids, buy for them food with the little that I had. I will gather women, preach to them, talk to them, pray with them, encourage them. And that is the beginning of the journey of my ministry. I got ordained officially in that same year, 2016, as a pastor, and I started the journey of my ministry. Way back, looking back where God has brought me from, looking back the challenges, the obstacles, the pain, the only things that are remained in my life are the scars. But the beauty God has brought inside of me, I never got it. And I love the scars because they remind me of where I am coming from. We launched this ministry, and the ministry is now doing well. In the process, God spoke to me to start a church. I was still afraid because I was not ready. And God sent different men of God who don't even know me and confirmed it. And when the time was ripe, I started our church in a beauty shop. My sister had a beauty shop, and she told me, if God has spoken to you, start here. Let us start fellowship here. So we started it as a fellowship. The three of us, then the neighbors of other shops joined us. From there we got to 10. From there we got to 12. In that very shop, we used to meet every Saturday, pray for them. And one day God told me, I've not only called you for women, I've called you for nations. I've called you for all the people. I was like, God, I thought it's only Beauty for Ashes. And God told me, no, You remember where your mandate is. Your mandate is in Isaiah 61. The Spirit of the Lord has anointed you to preach the good news to the poor, to set the captives free, to declare freedom for prisoners, beauty for ashes, and to comfort those who mourn. And that is when we now birth the church, house of comforts, where we are comforted by the Holy Spirit. We continued for a period of 6 months in that shop, and now God opened a door for us to get a place for the church. And when God spoke to me and told me, I am sending you to Donholm, that is where the church is. Go to Donholm, you're going to find a place for the church. And when I went to Donholm, I saw a school, and the Lord told me, go and start there. I went to the school, talked to the director, and he gave us a place to start the church. Now, we launched it officially in December 2021. And by the grace of God, we are going to our 1 year in this December. We are at Vision Star Academy, Donholm. God told me, Florence, don't be in a hurry to start big. I always start small. And I said, God, you are the God of the beginning and the end. I did not want to compete or compare myself with anybody. I was ready to start the smallest way ever, which is where we started at the shop. And we are now in the school. We are still in the process. We are still waiting for the next phase of this ministry house of comfort. Though your beginning may be small, but your latter shall be greatly increased. God bless you. My name is Florence Lucas, the journey of my life.